Morning, everyone. We are going to start webinar number 3. Really excited for the information that's going to be shared here today around system approaches to strengthening CTF and CTS, work integrated learning, and experiential pathways. We will go through the land acknowledgement. We'll have a quick look at our agenda today. What happens when career education moves beyond the course timetable and becomes part of system learning and the experiences that students partake in? What we're finding is that across Alberta, divisions are finding new ways to connect students to authentic experiences, industry partnerships, and meaningful pathways that strengthen engagement, confidence, and readiness for life after high school. I'm really excited to share the agenda with you today. We will be looking at the basis for these particular webinars, which is the professional learning needs assessment outcomes. And then we are going to be sharing 3 Alberta stories of practice from Wolf Creek, High Prairie, and Northland School Division. And then we'll engage in some discussion around the topic related to system leadership in action. If you're filling out your CEP or looking at what you will experience here today, we are going to go deeper into looking at what school authorities are doing to design and implement high quality pathways. You'll gain some practical strategies, ideas, and lessons learned. We'll look at greater clarity around leadership, the structures, and the system coordination to support sustainable implementation, opportunities to explore challenges, emerging trends, and innovative approaches. We will also look at actionable strategies to strengthen student access, pathway clarity, and authentic experiential learning. It's my great pleasure to introduce you to our speakers today. From Wolf Creek School Division, we have Sean Loughy, who's the Director of Education Services. From High Prairie School Division, we have Brennan McDonald, who's the Coordinator of Special Projects and Programming. And from Northland, we have Mark Owens, Associate Superintendent, and Amy Seville, Acting Associate Superintendent. This is the document, the published document of the outcomes of the Professional Learning Needs Assessment. And what we learned within this study was unpacking a definition of career education. There isn't any one solid career education definition out there. So we put this one together in terms of looking at this realm of career education as being a student-centered lifelong process. And what we're looking at is how do we integrate self-awareness for students, hands-on learning, transferable skill development, strong community and industry partnerships, and relevance. Ultimately, we're looking at career education, empowering students to make informed choices, adapt to change, and confidently transition into adulthood with purpose and readiness. When we look at what system leaders, so that document is broken down into system leaders and teachers. And what system leaders said is we need some targeted professional learning on this realm of career education leadership. Career education frameworks and strategic tools. We want to learn more about collaborations, community of practices, and facilitate community and industry partnerships. Today, when we move to the Alberta Stories of Practice, we'll be hearing about their practices from the perspective of the context, designing for access, work integrated and experiential learning in action, We'll be hearing about some of the structures and supports that they have in place, the impact, and then looking at lessons learned. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to our first speaker, who is Sean Loughy from Wolf Creek, and he will share his Alberta stories of practice. Just need you to unmute.
There we go. Unmuted. Thanks, Colleen. We'll jump to my first slide. We'll jump to the next one. Perfect. Thanks. I'm going to run you guys through a few things. Just recently, we had about half of our board has changed over. So for a lot of our board members, it was this entire realm of career education is new and what that looks like. So I spent quite a bit of time with our board getting them up to speed on some different areas. So I'm going to walk you through some of the things I walked them through, talk about some different areas. I'm also not going to talk about certain areas like micro-credentialing and things there because Brendan's going to do an amazing job and talk about that better than I can. So, but I do want to share some things with you, especially around some numbers and some pieces there. So we'll jump to the next one, Colleen. So first one is taking a look for us. This has been, a kind of a decade-long journey in some different areas. 630 students, 10,000 credits, 2,000 dual credit courses, right? Off campus, we're not going to get into a ton, but that's an integrated piece for us. Our off campus is synonymous with our career education pieces to give kids experiential learning in those pieces. Sometimes off campus happens first. Sometimes it happens after a dual credit or other exposures, but it's an integral piece for us. And you'll see that even in our partnerships where that has been. The other thing as well is with our summer program that summer programming, that is in this day and age with our budgetary constraints, it has been a leveraging point for us in terms of moving a lot of pieces forward. So this year, that one that's different from our standard pieces is under Casey as a part of our collegiate. We had about 600 kids participating in 1 and 3 day camps, which has really ramped up our upper level CTF and CTS programming for so many of our students. And again, it's about how are we providing equitable access. My division has 27 schools that are participating. We have some colony schools as well that we're exploring some opportunities there. But really it's providing that equitable access and really helping kids explore those new career pathways. We'll jump to the next one, Colleen. So for us, now my board over about 9 years ago, I talked to our board and our board did start allocating about $75,000 a year for me. The programming that we're doing, there's no way on God's green earth that I could run what we're running with those dollars, but it was something to start with. And you'll see our numbers when we started. We started like 3 kids, 5 kids. It's very different now. So with the grant processes and other structures and our summer programming, those kind of pieces brought that in. Also, I'm talking to our board about to date, we have had $0 in off campus. That's going to have to change at some point because we're centralizing some structures to make it more cost efficient and make it run in terms of compliance and all those pieces. Summer school for us, to give you an idea, we had about between 650, 700 kids in the summer running programming from academic programming, CTF, off campus, dual credit, different things there. I'm looking at somewhere towards between 700 and 850 this summer. And so those pieces there, it's a different CEU model, but I'll be very blunt on some of my staffing. I'm paying for 2 of my staff that I have all year that are supporting over 4,000 credits in year, and I'm paying for them in the summer. That means they're not coming out of my base funding. It's taken me time to develop that, but that's a critical piece. And so if my summer programming goes away, I'm going to lose tons of support in year. So it's making that sustainable model go forward. We'll jump to the next one, Colleen. So the startup grants have been key, but strategically for us, I have never put those dollars towards staffing. It has always been for cohorts. It's always been for development of programming and looking at sustainability, because the moment I put that into staffing, that grant's gone, staffing's gone. That's the way I've always looked at it. And for our $100,000, it's looking at where do we have need? How do we've got programming, but how do we make it equitable? So 3 images there. A number of years ago, we built a mobile lab for welding. So I have 2 full industry standard welding bays inside there. We did it with Red Deer Polytechnic and some industry partners to make that happen. And we've actually, it's been a 3.5, 4 year journey. We just ran our first inaugural camp with it. We had 2 Indigenous instructors, one a Red Seal journeyman at a Muscatcheese, and an Indigenous instructor from Olds College. And we had an entire Indigenous cohort. For us, we have 4 different bands just to the north of us coming in. And there's some challenges there. I can't get kids with all the dual credit programming we have. Our Indigenous population makes up less than 3% of my dual credit kids. And so if I can't get them on a bus and get them to go to other places, we have to bring the opportunity to them. And so this initiative was incredible for us and is really going to be a catalyst for us to be able to provide training. The other thing now that we have this, I'm moving that CCAN to 3 different locations next year. Hopefully 4, and then in the summer as well. So I will be providing up to 9 schools access to a mobile welding lab. And so that I can move those kids from those experiences into off-campus RAP placements and into post-secondary, moving that forward. So we're looking at that. Our other grants, same kind of thing. Cosmetology, I've got a mobile cosmetology one that's bringing equipment to different sites. I have a chef that he fell in my lap. He's a 2-star Michelin chef, and I've got him working with kids in 15 different schools this year as a part of breakfast programming. And so he's been working with over 700 kids this year already, providing camps and professional development for staff in some of those areas, so that all of our schools have access to, not just foods and make some cookies, but real culinary as a pathway. And so that's been very, very powerful and incredible feedback from our schools. We'll move forward, Colleen. So this is kind of a single graphic. I know lots of you have seen it before for us, but really this is what we're looking at, right? What are we doing in junior high in that CTF, moving them up into high school, moving them up into dual credit and into work. This is our guidance one. And we're working on some pieces. I won't get into details, but some things from kindergarten to grade 6. We've got some career exploration pieces we're doing right now, and that's moving forward as well. So we really want a kindergarten to grade 12 aligned with curriculum, supporting our kids in this career exploration. So we'll move on. So again, and it's moving kids at all those stages through that explore, that engage, and the experience. And what does that look like at different age levels, different entry points? And they may jump around in different pieces depending upon where they're at. But again, it's making this visible to them and understanding what that looks like. We'll move forward. So as a team, we really had to think about what structures need to look like. I had at one time, 14 years ago, I had $1.3 million, $1.4 million in career counselors in schools that was paid for through the ministry. That's gone. We don't have that. I've got, in my largest school, I have a 0.3 career counselor, and that was a school of 1,000 kids. And so the dollars are not there in the same way, unfortunately for us. So we had to centralize some of our pieces. And so that I've got myself and my 2 school career practitioners. And in my school, I want my administrators and my teachers vetting kids, supporting kids, but my school-based people do not oversee any dual credit. And we are moving most of their off-campus away from that as well to a more centralized model, so that our schools can focus on what they need to and support, and we can support on our end, and having that constant communication. So we still have liaisons there. They just don't have the time. They don't have the time to do what they need to do there. My dream would be to have another 10 people, 10 FTE embedded in those buildings. And when I look at what we could do with that, it'd be incredible. But with these financial constraints, it's trying to maximize what we have. And right now, that's going to come into the barriers about how do we grow? How do we continue to support, right, in those challenges? But this is our model. So my team, I've got 2 career practitioners. I went a different route. They're tied to the careers planning, but they do all my off-campus and my dual credit. All of those pieces are together, along with supporting CTF and CTS. They both come from industry. Katie Ann does have an education background as well, but mainly oil field experience and industry, and same with Ashley. And so they can walk the walk, and they really know industry and they know those pieces. And that's been a powerful move for us in terms of what we're looking at. Again, they're not providing instruction. They are overseeing and supporting. And then, of course, I've got Tess on here. Even though she's not my staff, Careers Next Gen has been an integral part for us, supporting hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of students to find the placements. I don't want my staff in schools trying to find job placements. Career does that for us. And that has worked very, very well within our zone, and it's been highly effective. We'll go on. So dual credit. So for us, again, we'll jump to the next one. So we've broken ours up in the kind of three categories. We have single courses, so that more exploratory one, and then moving into deeper, right, ones where they're experiencing. So we get pre-employment where kids are getting their full first year technical training, and most of them will have their blue book hours, so they're going to move directly into second year and pieces there. So in Central Alberta, we're running about 64 kids through that per year. And areas like welding, heavy duty, automotive, pipe trades, millwright, those different areas there. And then, of course, veterinary tech assistant is a very big one for us as well. So that's a more of a single pathway with full certification. We actually did have healthcare aid, but with some challenges in the revamping of the program, we're having to relook at that. So in the past 2 years, I have not had healthcare aids other than a couple single courses. And I know Amy and Mark are going to probably talk about some of their pieces there. They've got a good working model. And so I'm going to be asking them for some support and looking at going down that road as well. But again, with Alberta Health changing those pieces over, that was a barrier. So we'll talk about that. We'll move forward. So enrollment growth, we'll jump. So for us, this is the trajectory that we've done. We've gone, from 3, and my budget hasn't changed. Grants and stuff there, it's been getting very creative and pulling rabbits out of hats. But moving from 3 to 176 students this year, talking thousands of credits, multiple courses. Many of those kids are taking more than one course. And so really I'm running, a decent sized school directly out of here. And so it's an interesting dynamic on that one. But really that exponential growth, again, getting the barriers, I'm getting to a point where I'm going to cap. Without some form of sustainable funding, I'm going to cap out. And that means, and my board's looking at that, they don't want to cap it, but we're going to have no choice. And also staffing wise, because to even grow bigger, I need more staffing, and that's expensive. So again, how do we choose the courses and the things there? There's a couple of different ones. One, taking a look at current industry and what we need within our region, but also having kids using the tools effectively. And we've got a scope and sequence for my blueprint for our kids going through. And we're really taking that feedback and letting the kids know the opportunities that we build and that we work with our post-secondaries on is going to come from their feedback. What are the areas? Agriculture, business, trades, human services is a big one, healthcare sciences, right? All those different areas that we're looking at, and what opportunities do we have for kids there? We can provide, and we all know, we get parents calling, hey, how about this course that I see over here or this other location? We can't do them all, but how do we target for what our kids need? So very quick view, like this was this year, and we added another 22 on top of this. So that's what the kind of courses that I'm looking at bringing to our different schools. And again, some of them will be in pilot phase. If they're not well, I usually will run a 2-year pilot to see if the enrollment's that low, we may be pulling those and putting other ones in. So it's an ever-changing model to continue to adapt and move. And our post-secondaries have been incredible in terms of offerings and support. We'll move forward. So benefits and success, student outcomes for us, we're tracking success rates, transition rates going up. I know I've spoken to it before. The increasing trend of my dual credit kids is also the increasing trend on my diplomas. So I've got between 15 and 30% increase in diplomas on that same trajectory. The more kids in dual credit, the more diplomas are being done, the higher are the results, and graduation rates and transition. Both of those dramatically are increasing. And when I'm looking at 100% graduation, if they participate in dual credit, I've got 100% graduation rate from those students. Those numbers speak for themselves. Labor market and looking at confidence for our kids, huge. Local community, Eckville, Alberta is a good example that I've talked about before for us. I have more placements in Eckville than I do in Red Deer. Why? Local community. They can support our kids, provide them training. They can go off and get training, and they're coming back to our rural communities and supporting. I've got industry partners showing up at parent-teacher conferences, showing up at parent nights and things there because they're interested now. They play a role. And so very interesting conversations happening. And that confidence for our kids. When they participate in these pieces, they might be the first one in their family to go to post-secondary. And it's a confidence builder for us. And our divisional transition rates, the board's looking at those pieces as we see those grow. And again, that's one of the most elusive categories, because if kids are taking a fourth year, a fifth year, and transitioning out of there, it does mess with the provincial data on it. So my individual schools are doing more tracking and following kids all the way from grade 9 to grade 12. We have an entire different tracking sheet, and that's providing us some more information. And also, we got a lot of kids that are going out, like they might be going down to the US or other places, or other certification programs that might not fall under the standard one that's being tracked by Alberta Ed. And those are just as valid. So we'll move on. Again, challenges and barriers. Sustainable funding, that's a key piece right now. What does that look like? Right now, when we're taking a look at, I know we don't even have enough dollars to bring all of our staff in for all the curriculum sessions that we need right now. So when we're looking at that, how am I going to be accessing more dollars for some of this programming? And when we're looking at the ministerial marching orders to our minister from advanced ed and ed, those bullets are in there. And so we're waiting to see what that looks like and providing ministry the evidence to say, this is what can happen if you fund this. And it's not just funding it randomly, it's targeted funding in those areas to support this. So hopefully we will see some increases there and continue trying to pull some rabbits out of hats. The hoop jumping and different pieces there. We all know there's different elements that we have to do, from grant writing and reporting and pieces there, the 810 codes and other pieces. Things like for healthcare aid, we had some really good conversations with the Ministry of Health and trying to figure out those dollars to flow effectively. And did we succeed fully? No. So again, we're trying to jump hoops to make it, flow effectively. But again, that's tough, and especially with limited staff. And our human resources comes back to budgeting. Without staffing, I can't make this work. Now, how do we overcome some of those pieces and continue to work? Strategic partnerships. Without partnerships, we can't achieve any of the things that we're doing in our division. And I've been very, very fortunate with our school divisions around us working together. And I talk to people in our neighboring divisions as much as I do to my people inside my division, because we really are looking at a team. So in Central Alberta, we're looking at 40,000 students, not just my 7,500. And so that's a powerful piece. And it also allows local industry and others to not show favoritism to one division or another. They can support us all because we're all on the same page. So we'll move forward. I'm going to go through two kind of new ones for us as well. These are newer partnerships. I was literally at SAIT yesterday. We had an entire group of cybersecurity kids. We're working with a company, WorkEd, out of BC, and they're doing a lot of work in the US. They're beaming a guy in from Nevada in to train one of my teachers for cybersecurity and running these kids through. So they were at SAIT in SAIT's booth there, actually learning to hack and defend. And so they were actually hacking passwords and learning the defense mechanism for that. And these are very tangible skills where these kids are receiving micro credentials and will be able to walk into industry already. And we're looking at actual placements this summer where some of those kids could be looking at 25 to 30 bucks an hour because of the skills that they've acquired. And so very powerful ones. We'll move to the next one. And then what does it look like for our little people? Again, working with WorkEd, we've got some kits that we're working with. And one of my teachers just sent this. They've got kids on a dinosaur dig. They're doing some veterinary medicine. So they're learning some of their, how many milliliters are they going to have to give to their little kitty and do this. Fine motor, gross motor, but also some of your science, your math, some social studies, lots of those different areas, and embedding. So it's not another thing on top of curriculum. It's aligned with curriculum. So our teachers are finding it when they're doing structures and they're being engineers. They're also achieving their mathematics outcomes and the other pieces there in an interesting way. So that's a growth one there. And it's really worked well. I have one pilot school right now, a K-9 school, and they have changed every Friday into career exploration day. And so they've embedded into their timetable and they're still achieving academic outcomes, but in this framework. And so it's a really exciting one for us to look at what that's going to look like for a kindergarten to grade 12 model. So we'll move on. And our big one is our Central Alberta Collegiate. I'll move to the next one. And so I've already talked a little pre-employment. That's where together we couldn't do this by ourselves. We've got full cohorts running, but it takes the 4 school divisions together to pull that off and support. And it doesn't matter if the kids from Red Deer Public, Red Deer Catholic, Chinook's Edge, or ours, we support all the kids that are moving through. And we have to be flexible. Sometimes I need more seats, sometimes another one needs more seats, but really it's that power of working together that's allow us to do it. I'll move on. So the 1-day and 3-day camps that we've done this year, these have been huge. They've been our 1-day camps are more geared towards the 8 and 9. And for so many of my small rural schools, they don't have access to shops in the same way. Here we purchased our own instructor at Red Deer Polytechnic. He has 5 trades that he is certified in and is Red Seal. And so very fortunate to have him. And he's created projects for our kids to come in and get hands-on experience. And that really is a catalyst for so many of our schools to move things forward without having a full shop in my small school like a Bluffton, Alberta, or Alex. But it really becomes that kickstart from a 1-day, 3-day into camps, into dual credit, and moving them forward. So we'll jump to the next. The 3-day camp, that's more your 8 and 9. So the next level up where they're doing multiple days and multiple trades. And they're really starting to see, we're getting feedback from the kids on, okay, starting to really see what that pathway is. They're also taken out of their school, their comfort zone, and they're put on campus. And if we have 3 positive experiences at a post-secondary, it is upwards of 15 times more likely to attend that post-secondary. So now it's not something new. They've been there and they've had success. So with that success comes a likelihood of them moving forward in those areas, whether it's in that same pathway or exploring another area. We'll move on. And then, of course, a 5 credit. We found that there's a transition. What do we do between those exploratory ones and the full pre-employment? We get a group of kids who are not quite sure. So they're not ready to do a full wrap placement and full technical training. They're in that hybrid. They're not sure what trade. So this 5 credit course, they're really getting in, doing a lot. There's multiple, like 12 days in labs. They're doing multiple trades and they're exploring and learning. So I'd say right now, looking at our kids that have gone, these are also some kids I'm taking a bit of a risk on. I'm not sure if they wouldn't make pre-employment yet. And this is the test to see if we're going to invest in them to move forward. So they're making a pathway choice along with we're vetting them a little bit. Because if I move them to pre-employment at $6,000 a pop, that's an expensive one that I'm not willing to risk. So this has been a great model for us to transition through. So move forward. And then the other one that we've done, a part of KC, May 12th, we had 400 students attend Red Deer Polytechnic, and they got to working with a post-secondary of not a trade fair, but hands-on in different areas to explore, whether it's engineering or healthcare or business or skilled trades, all of those areas having hands-on experience, they're exploring. The trade fairs have not been effective, what we found. This has been far more hands-on with instructors, targeted to those areas. And then, of course, May 27th, so we're going right away again down to Olds College. All right, CTS summer camps. This has been an interesting one for us as well. So we'll jump to the next one. As a part of our summer camps, what we've done is we've leveraged industry partners to come in. So I do have staff involved, our certified staff, but I'm trying to leverage a lot of industry to bring things in. We did a drone camp last year where they're building drones, and we brought in a surveying company that uses drones. I wouldn't know the company, but Asset was our partner, industry partner, and they're talking about what training looks like, where this applied right now in industry, and this is the career path. And so for some of our kids, this has now become their pathway. They're moving down drones and Eng Tech and actually looking at surveying. And so I've had multiple kids from this that have chosen their career pathway and are in a post-secondary right now getting this training. We'll move on. The other ones are I'll keep going. Culinary. This was an odd one. Again, I had this industry partner fall on my lap. And so I've got him, again, going to all of our different schools and providing camp experiences as low as grade 4 all the way up to grade 12. And what we've also done is leverage it in the summer. So some of my kids with academic programming can't take some of the options they want, or they can only access maybe domestic food or no food programming. This is full culinary. And so in summer, they can do 6 to 7 hours a day for 5 days in heavy duty culinary. So we're doing 1 week Mediterranean cuisine, 1 week of French, and we're doing pizza and wood fired ovens this year, which is a really interesting one. And working with Lena, Lena's down in Calgary, with them sponsoring some of the different pieces there. But for our kids, it really is. This is what culinary looks like, and it is a self-sustaining model because I'm paying about for 20 kids, it's about $500 a day for food and about $500 for my instructor. So the dollars from CEUs in summer have to offset those costs for my cohorts. And right now, I know when I put out we're just about to put out the wood-fired oven one, I'm capping it at 24, and I know we're going to fill it. I'll keep going. There we go. So again, it's making it real for the kids. So they're not, I mean, baking cookies and doing stuff is great, but this is like salmon ceviche, rack of lamb with a pureed one that they're doing in sous vide. So it's real culinary, real exposure. I know because the kids' feet are sore by the end of the day. And at lunch, they're sitting on the floor exhausted from hammering their stuff out, and they do full plated meals. They eat very well during that time, but it's making it very real. All right, we'll jump to the next one. And cosmetology. So for us, my small school like in Eckville, Alberta, can't pull it off because of the size of their cohorts. So we provided some mobile equipment so I can have 2 chairs out there with an industry person that helps support a teacher to learn. And then we tie them into local industry in town. And so that the students are doing their placements and practicum there. So it's really trying to look at some training and support and leveraging our industry partners to provide access that we couldn't provide without it. And so it's a different model there on what that looks like, and also small population. So this has been one that we're exploring, and I'm looking to bring it to 9 schools. And then again, larger companies like Dow Chemical, we're doing a construction camp with vinyl lumber. So we're going outside the box on some recycled pieces, and they're building some furniture and selling it and bringing that money and giving that money to charity and working with Dow to do that. And so this is live things here. We're going to be working with Dow around the actual curricular elements in chemistry and organic chemistry and some of the things that they're doing to recycle those plastic and to move that forward. So it's interesting, really interesting higher end stuff. We're working with them on this one. So this is an ongoing project for us. We started this year. And of course, as I mentioned, that wood-fired culinary, we got to grab kids' attention. And if they get a whole week of doing wood-fired and pizza and bread in an oven, I would have wanted to take that course. And I know our kids want to take that course. And so is there jobs for it? Yeah. We're bringing in a couple of Pizziolas from down south that'll actually talk about, they turn this into an industry, into a business, and they're making good money doing this. So it can be a full career path. That's it for us. So I know I hammered through a lot of different pieces there, and there's lots of other areas and other things, but that's a nice broad overview. So any questions?
Not seeing any hands. We'll certainly unpack some of that as we move forward. Thank you, Sean.
You bet.
We'd like to turn it over at this time to Brennan and to share the High Prairie School Division story.
Thank you very much. I'm Brennan McDonald from the High Prairie School Division. Our collegiate approach was through micro-credential programming that offers multiple pathways to career exploration, further post-secondary exploration, and certificate training for our students at High Prairie School Division. So why does it matter? Because micro-credentials address all 4 of these categories. We can increase trade and construction knowledge with our students. We can introduce an agricultural employment field that may not have been available to every student. Healthcare and community support is increased, including the amount of time that's volunteered by our students to work with the elderly and less capable citizens so that we can try to make a difference. We have retail, hospitality, and service industries where students are going to learn event planning, how to properly sell themselves, And then there's education and community service, or working with young kids, making sure that field is addressed. We have a growing demand for early learning and childcare professionals, both teachers and EAs. Through micro-credentials, students can earn their level 1 childhood certificate, making them employable right after high school. Teachers and support staff can also take these courses and get a leg up in the post-secondary field when they enter into a teaching program. So the benefits of it is employers need work-ready graduates. There's a skill shortage across the industries. Students need recognized and practical skills, and it's connecting education to real careers. They can build on one another. So a few micro-credentials taken together can lead to a post-secondary credit program, or it can lead to a certificate program where they can get a supportive care assistant certificate, where students are then qualified to work in seniors lodges, daycares, all those different facilities. So a little bit about the program. Some of these numbers are old. It was built a little bit back, but we offer now 30 different micro-credentials to our students. We've completed over 650 micro-credentials for 1,800 CTS credits achieved. Student participation is over 190 students. In our small division, that equals to more than 30% of our high school population. The average CTS credits earned by a student is 8, but we've had some kids earn 14 because they keep coming back to the table going, hey, I really like that business course. Can I take another one? And they just keep piling it on, and they're excited to learn about what's going, something that's interested them. And then it's leading to an increase by 30% of dual credit applications in our division. So kids are getting success at the micro-credential level where they don't have as much risk with a dual credit, because if they don't succeed, it doesn't go on their record. That's a big thing to remember. When they feel comfortable, that's when they enter into the dual credit opportunity, and we try to provide all the assistance that we can to promote that. Our partners have been unbelievably beneficial in this because they are willing to build us micro-credentials that work for our kids. We're currently building an e-sport program where we have 2 micro-credentials and an ethics class on proper performance on the web. So kids are learning social skills as well, what's acceptable, what's not. Our pathways and partnerships are kind of a big bonus. We can offer a wide range of micro-credentials because we reach many different post-secondary institutions such as Olds, Northwestern, Portage, Norquest, and Saskatchewan Polytech. Working with them has made this program really successful because they want our kids to succeed. So they develop cohorts just for them so that they can come in, work, and then have somebody work alongside them if the kid does not understand what's being asked of them. We have multiple career pathways for students to explore. So one of our pathways that we're really excited about is a trade, the carpentry trade. We have a Red Seal carpenter who is taking students under his wing and renovating low-income housing for the community at no cost to the organization. We're paying for the carpenter, and the kids are volunteering but getting work experience in the mid-run of it. And then the low-income houses are their costs are the supplies that are needed to make the renovations. We have a Pleasant View Lodge exploration, where kids are taking a supportive care assistant certificate and then volunteering their time, entertaining and meeting with seniors of the community, making sure that they are properly interacting with the seniors and that sort of stuff. All of these come with 8 credits at a time. So our senior care certificate, that's a 1 block, that's an 80-minute block. 8 credits are earned during the semester at that time. So we have lots of these opportunities for our students to be successful. So these are the pathways that we have right now up and established. All of them have the same pattern. They start with a micro-credential, then they go into a dual credit, and then they go into community involvement. So our students are getting out there and being involved with what's happening in our community. And the reason that High Prairie School Division is doing this is because we want to make sure that when a High Prairie School Division student graduates from our schools, that they have skills on their resume already, and that they've been heard of before they've entered into a workforce. So, okay, that kid took the supportive care assistant program. We need them. They have that skill already. They've proven their worth, and our kids are starting off better than they were leaving. If you are new to micro-credentials, they're short, focused certifications that validate specific skills, competencies, and workplace knowledge. They provide students with practical industry relevant training connected to real career pathways and workforce needs. They're supposed to be flexible. The kids can work on it at any time. If a kid comes to us and says, I really want to take the marketing class from Portage College, can you sign me up? We're like, yep. And they can work at that anytime. It can be 2 in the morning, it can be 2 in the afternoon, and they're able to address that. There's no need for 35 people to have to be in a cohort because they're individually assessed, and each student gets to take their own pathway through the courses. So much like Sean, we started with grade 9 in the CTF exploration. Students are getting some 1,000 level credits for their exploration in agriculture, trades, and the other one is healthcare. So kids are starting to feel out the waters. And then grade 10, we continue that career and technology foundations, but now we introduce the micro-credentials and the CTS pathways, hoping that we find a fit for each kid in our programming. They meet with our dedicated career coaches to find out what sort of interests they like. So our career coaches will sit them down, give them the aptitude test, make suggestions, and then monitor the progress with that student. This is vital to the programming. As a kid completes a course or a micro-credential or a certificate, we then meet with the kid again and go through their resume and build up their resume so that when they're ready to leave either high school or enter into the workforce, they have a dedicated resume that's committed and up to date for them. As they progress through the micro-credentials, we then offer them dual credit opportunities or workplace experiences and industry partnerships, which lead to basic practical skills being earned and certifications being gained, all while exposing them to a variety of different post-secondary institutions. So it's real work experience, it's career clarity, it's confidence and employability, recognized credentials, developed resumes, and a pathway to high school graduation. Our students are benefiting from these programs because they're feeling success in what they're doing. When we were talking to the students at one school that were in the micro-credential program, they were saying that they understand more about how I'm supposed to treat a customer, how I'm supposed to act when I'm at work, what I'm supposed to do with my phone, all these skills that are soft skills that are not enforced on a regular basis are being enforced, and now students are being more prepared for the workplace. So the employer gets a skilled entry-level worker. They don't have to do as much training because the student knows what's expected of them, and it helps us develop partnerships with potential employees. The rural communities are benefiting from this as well, as High Prairie School Division is strictly a rural community. Our local workforce is getting better skills. We're creating more opportunities for kids within the rural communities, and we're developing a workforce capacity in high demand industries. Anything that you can think of, we can make a micro-credential for that, and then make a dual credit pathway for that student to help further their education in that program. So it's youth retention, economic growth, stronger local residents, and sustainable rural future. Our kids, a lot of them stay at home, so we want them to be trained so that they can help take over some of these businesses that are struggling to meet the needs of the community because they can't find employers that will stay for long periods of time. 45% of most employers say they're understaffed, and 57% say they can't fill those positions. So I've talked about our partnerships before. Our local industries right now are the Heart River Housing. They're helping us with the low-income housing project. Boondocks is one of our agricultural partners. Children's Resource Council is one of our elementary or early learning childhood care partners. And our food bank, we work with agriculture as well, providing them with meals and volunteer hours from the kids. So High Prairie School Division is committed to ensuring students graduate with more than credits. They graduate with skills, confidence, direction, and opportunity. We strive to ensure every student graduates with practical workforce-ready skills, meaningful post-secondary and career opportunities. They feel engaged, valued, and invested in their learning journey. We have kids that are in our micro-credential program that are attending that are attending at a higher rate than ever before. For some of our less dedicated students, they're asking to be going to class so that they can keep up and enter into a new micro-credential. That process has been just absolutely amazing. So we're expanding the program. I've mentioned these three, the first two. The Pleasant View Lodge, we're working with seniors. Heart River Housing, we're working with low-income families. And the agricultural pathway, we just got news yesterday that we got a collegiate grant for the agricultural pathway. So we're going to be doing vertical farming and help students learn the process of growing vegetables and fruit, and the business aspect behind that as well.
Any questions for Brennan at this time?
I have some questions. Brennan, do you tie your micro-credentials to CTS credits?
Yes.
And then do they, when you put that thing in about stacking, do they stack enough to equal a dual credit? Or they have
Some
to...
do, yes.
So
not all of them do, but some of them do.
If they took the micro-credentials and then took the dual credit after, would the pieces they did in the micro-credential count as work already done in the dual credit, or do they do it again if it's part of the dual credit?
What we do is, I'll give you an example, is we're doing marketing next for business. So we're going to do a marketing micro-credential that hits CTS credits, about 4 CTS credits. And then we're going to go into it's like esport marketing. And so it's a different type of marketing, and they get 5 credits from that. So they're going to get 9 credits from that exploration.
And is there a pathway drawn out somewhere that makes these connections for us, or do we have to sort of do that ourselves?
I've done it, and I can share it with you if you'd like to see it.
I would like to see it.
Okay.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions for Brennan this time? Okay, well, we will segue to our third story of practice. And it's my pleasure to turn this over to Mark Owens and Amy Seville to share their story of practice.
Thanks, Colleen. Just to kind of set the stage before Amy starts talking about some of the collegiate work we're doing. Our school division is about 1,700 students total, and between 200 and 300 high school students total. And so when we began our work with collegiate, even just at the start of the dual credit, we were at about below 15% graduation rate. And we started with one partnership just about 4 years ago. And so we're very happy. We talked a little bit later about it. We're up near 50% graduation rate. So over the last 4 years, we're at a 35% increase in our graduation rate. And but we're a little different than a lot, even some of the rural, because we want to offer a ton of stuff to a very small amount of kids. So that's kind of the basis of where we got started with this. So I'll let Amy start talk about where we started.
This is just a big overview sort of what we have happening. So across the top, you'll see we have the educational assistant program. And for us, we're very often hiring stay-at-home moms as our EAs that don't have training. So we're really looking to train our high school students that are coming up. And we actually also offer that programming to any EAs that are in the school already that want to have it, so that we're having trained people work with our kids. And so they do their placements at our elementary schools, and then they do their courses asynchronously or synchronously online. Then we have the carpentry program in a couple of different areas. We have one in Wabasca and one happening in Paddle Prairie. We have welding that happens at all three sites, Bill Woodward in Anzac and Wabasca and Paddle Prairie. And we have our welding, and we have our healthcare aid, which is mostly based out of the Wabasca site. But the way that we've done it, it's all done virtually. But then when they have their labs, we transport the kids from other areas to Wabasca. They've provided us with housing at the college for a very reasonable rate. So we bring the kids down. It was supposed to be once, but it ended up being twice for their lab portion, just to make that equitable for everybody. And then we're looking to change that a little bit. Keano College does also offer it. So the students in Bill Woodward, if we can partner and line up the timing, they could stay here and do it at Keano, even though they've done just for their practicum part. So we're working on aligning that. Mark's going to talk a little bit more about another venture we're going on. So I think we'll do a lot more work of trying to get students lab placements in other colleges, wherever is closer to their homes. And then multi-trade, we have welding, heavy duty mechanic, and electrician. And we're going to talk a little bit more about this part after, but we are really lucky that industry is in high demand for those in our area. And so that is fully funded right now by Suncor.
So our biggest discussion has been how in the small rural communities can we offer the same kind of opportunities as the larger schools. We can't. So we discussed and a lot about some of the barriers that we face, and I think a lot of rural school divisions face is we can't build a big shop in every one of our schools. Some of our high schools have 15 or 20 high school kids. So we're really talking about how do we either bring the learning to them or bring them to the learning. And so a lot of the stuff that we're looking at is it has to be partnerships. It has to be working with industry, and because industry has the shops that the kids need to get out there. And the partnerships with other division has been crucial to the success and big time to the sustainability in moving forward with a lot of the programs that we're trying to offer.
Is this me or you, Mark? I kind of forget.
I can speak to this. So we're some of the barriers we talked about scheduling. We needed to be able to make sure to have some synchronous scheduling so that we could work together in a lot of our high schools. it needed to that common timetable was crucial for us to be able to offer some of the programming in multiple schools. Our online school has been a huge thing for us because when we're trying to look at student schedules and the flexibility in there, we have very little flexibility in small school scheduling. But in our online school, we have a lot more flexibility in how we can offer things. So we really need to the asynchronous has been a lot easier to schedule, as a lot of you know. But it's making sure that we have that time and scheduling for that. And the other part is, and we've all talked about it, is the funding. And grants are great. Amy already talked about local industry, their needs. Really, we reach out to them, and they need tradespeople so much that they're really helping with some of the support. What can we do? And we're really exploring with a lot of our new programming, especially our full-time programming, like healthcare aid pre-employment at the grade 13 funding. And because a lot of our students, once we offer the exploratory and they're really interested, getting them signed back up in either a RAP program or some of our certificate programs in their grade 13 really does help with the funding that we get for grade 13 allows us to some of the funding we need.
So CTS week is something we do straight across the division, and it's built in our calendars that they get at the beginning of the year. So there's set dates that all schools are going to be involved in experiential learning. So we interview all the students and find out what they're passionate about. And then we work sometimes with careers actually, and then sometimes we have high school success coaches and our collegiate workers help out too. And we find placements for these students. So for us, our collegiate might drive 2 or 3 kids. I might drive 2 or 3 kids. We might run a bus if there's enough going a certain direction. So however we can make it work to get everybody where they need to go. But we've done crane operating, heavy duty mechanics, real estate, lifeguard, at the parts shop, floral shops, grocery stores, hair salons, basically anything that kids have a passion for or want to learn more about or have an experience with. We're giving them those opportunities, and it has really turned into some cool opportunities for the workplace to meet the students and see like, oh, that student has a good work ethic and a good sense of humor and they get along well with our staff. And in a couple of situations, they've actually paid for the student to go and do the trainings because they know that that's somebody they want to employ. So it's worked out really well on a couple of different things. And of course, our division is very cultural led. And so during that time, we also get students working with elders, could be learning ceremony, beading, teepee building, again, whatever their interest is, if it's something that they want to know more about. And then we also have our CTS option. So again, for some of our shops that don't have access to that stuff, their CTS week might include bringing in a tradesperson to do a 3 or 4 day project with them where they'll earn a few credits building something or learning that skill. And here's just a few pictures. So this is one of the heavy duty equipment shops. They're doing an oil change there, and La Prairie Crane took a few students and they learned a lot of skills and just sort of what that job entails, what it looks like on the day to day.
One of the other programs that we piloted be 3 years ago, and is now a continuous program for the next couple of years with our high schools, is Forestry Week. And what's really nice is that we have our partners, Wolf. I didn't have them down here, is the Woodland Operation Learning Foundation. They team up and work with us and the industry partners with their FRIA funding. And this is a fully funded program for kids, and each of our high school areas gets a week-long forestry week with the instructors from Wolf, and the simulators are the same simulators they use for industry training on the equipment, such as skidders and loaders and forklifts and some of the bobcat stuff, and so they get a number of hours throughout week in there. They also get out onto the land and look at tree identification. New this year, they've looked at some paleontology and as well some wilderness survival and safety They do some GPS and some orienteering. So they really get a lot of hands-on along with some theory. And depending on if we have a 4-day week or a 5-day week, students are earning anywhere between 3 and 5 credits during that week to in CTS, and it's nice because we've been working. The pilot project was a 1 year, and a continuation of that. We're looking at a second and possibly a third year for students that want to continue and go from the 10 level to the 20 level to the 30 level with some of these things. And what's really nice is like our partners. Would be like Alpac is one of our biggest partners. West Fraser's another one. The funding doesn't have to directly come from them. It's that free of funding that they get for programs like this, and they get a real opportunity to see more than because a lot of the kids think about when they think of forestry, they think of just being out cutting down trees and that's it. And there's HR, there's tech, there's all kinds of different programs that they talk about throughout that week. So it's a really engaging program, and they continue to build more and more into that. The next one has some pictures of the one student on the simulators and them being out on the land as well.
So how our collegiate functions? So credit mapping, of course, our collegiate champions meet with our students. And again, some schools have high school success coaches, but we found in some schools, sometimes it's the secretary, sometimes it's the principal. So there was a big gap there on the skill set of people helping kids with their credit mapping. So our collegiates have done a lot of training and practice and learning on that. So they support that. They also have a vehicle, a division vehicle, so that they can transport students if they have to make it to an interview or something. It's certainly not meant to drive kids to work every day, but it is to, if they, like I said, if they need to do an interview or go for kind of the tour of the building or any of that kind of stuff, they can support with that. Or again, those CTS days. Our collegiates do help try and figure out the traveling and programming logistics with students and when it fits in their schedule for them to do certain things. They interview the students and they work with careers for that as well, for vetting them and making sure they have prerequisites and that it fits in their long range plan of being able to graduate on time. And then program information sharing. So as we sign up new partners or more courses come available or things are getting full in case they wanted to sign it up, all that communication to the schools comes out through the collegiates and not Mark and I anymore. Grants. We've gotten a couple of different grants, collegiate school startup grants for our trades and our enhancement of our CTS rooms, enhancement dual credit grant for our healthcare aid, startup dual credit grant for our IYMP and wellness and our educational assistant. So our IYMP is Indigenous Youth Mentorship Program, and within that there's a 16 credit map. So students have to have their first aid and their food handling. They take a lot of leadership, how to be a mentor, how to be a mentee. So they have to prepare a healthy snack and then run a session for the younger kids. So our idea for our dual credit grant is to move that into a kinesiology diploma. So we're just trying to find the right secondary partner for that project right now. But it's already lined up almost all of the students that I've talked to running summer camps and stuff within their communities. So it's been really strong for building their confidence and those kind of skills. So part of what has helped us is we do have a common schedule across our division. So when we're offering virtual opportunities and things like that, all of our high school students have the same bell times and we actually have what we call a flex block. So that's supposed to be kept free for students who are wanting to do these programs so that they're not missing out on other school opportunities during that time. And then we really heavily rely on our local journeymen and our industry partners. And again, it's a lot of work because we can't find one to run welding. We need to find one to run welding in every community. So it's a little bit unique for us that way. Next slide.
With our welding program, obviously the welding's very popular in a lot of our communities. The kids are really interested in learning about that. It looks different in all our communities, like Amy said. And just a quick overview, Mistastny in Wabasca is a brand new school, and we did have funding to build a state-of-the-art new welding shop, and pretty exciting. We're just getting it going this year. So that is kind of the high end of what we're able to offer for that exploratory experiential learning. Bill Woodward, we have a welding shop. We've put some of our collegiate capital money into getting that up and ready, but we have a local welder come in. Keanu College, Amy had already said we have some workplace readiness, and we got some really good support from Suncor for some of those programs. In Paddle Prairie, we have a portable trailer, very similar to you see the Northern Lakes Colleges. Some of the colleges bring those out. It's a permanent fixture there now, and we were able to bring a local welder in there to work with them. And then moving forward, Northern Lakes College has said with the pre-employment, just for example, welding, if we provide the instructor, we could offer pre-employment courses at about 20% the tuition because we supply the instructor for it. So the credentials and the outcomes and the content would come from them, but we would have a local tradesperson as instructor if that's approved by the college. So really excited about the future of that. The next slide has just some pictures of some of the welding that the kids have been doing.
And again, our division is very cultural based, so our students earn a lot of credits out on the land. They've had wellness on the land. They're ice fishing there. And then it's a lot of working with elders and learning a lot of traditional skills. They would harvest all the scales from those fish, and then for their art projects, they're doing fish scale art. They have to learn how to cure them and dye them and all that stuff. This is a local trapper. The kids actually go out on his land 3 times a year, so they do spring, fall, and winter camp. And so some of it is survival, some of it is medicines. So we tie it all into their CTS credits. We work with Northwest College. They send somebody up and they tie in some STEM activities to whatever the camp is about. I've seen them do some really awesome photosynthesis labs where they harvested leaves from under the tree and the side and the top of the canopy, and then they smash them all up and put iodine in there and see which one reacted more, because photosynthesis creates sugar. And so really tying their science pieces into what they're learning out on the land. And then that on the left, that picture is at Bill Woodward School. So we do, there's actually 5 outdoor fire pits. So we do a lot of outdoor cooking classes. Those kids could make breakfast, lunch, and supper and dessert out on the fire. They're very well versed in that now.
Our heavy duty mechanics, this is one of our first trades trailers. So we talked a little bit about the mobile. We have a trailer that will be set up, that is set up with all of the tools needed, but not just the tools. We wanted to make something that was easy, portable. This trailer can be pulled just by a half-ton truck and brought there. But along with the tools, there's preset modules. So this isn't providing a wrap program for kids. This is providing that experiential learning to get the hook in. And because those kids, I know Sean presented a little bit earlier with their welding trailer going, just get that real interest going so that if students want to proceed further, we get them hooked up with one of our local journeymen and get in through there. But the next few slides, and we won't go into any detail, are some of the breakdown how we've looked at the curriculum and how we can build through that. And so our mechanics trailers, which will be great for our division for probably 5 or 6 weeks throughout the year. But part of the sustainable funding is we want to be able to offer these to other small rural divisions so that they can use it. And we're starting with the heavy duty. We're looking at cosmetology and possibly some other ones that moving forward that can travel to communities and be all you need is somebody comfortable with mechanics or an industry partner or something that could come to the schools. Like this heavy duty mechanic, it's got 2 pop-up garage tents so that we can put vehicles in and get working on different vehicles there. So the next few slides we can kind of flip through quickly. I know that this slide deck is provided afterward. Hopefully they're provided, and just show how we kind of broke down some of the outcomes and some of the CTS modules that we'll be working through with the mechanics trailer. So I think that's the next 3 slides there.
So this one is actually what the workbook would look like. If somebody rented it out, they would just get this package. This is what the students fill out. There's a rubric there because whoever's coming in that's comfortable with mechanics might not be a teacher. So something very simple that they can evaluate each student on, something quick and easy, and just some photos to go along with it. So there'd be some classroom work. If you weren't always out in the trailer, there'd be lots of stuff to keep everybody entertained, and might be able to do some of it before you brought in that person in case you were paying them outside of your regular staff. And these are all our industry partners to date. So I saw a lot of those names on your slides as well. So they seem pretty common. Olds, Lethbridge, Keano, Northern Lakes, Sate, and McEwen. And McEwen is the only one that's a little bit different for us because they do our courses specifically for Northland. Mark, I don't know, did we have another slide that we were kind of talking about that, how we've involved other divisions? So it was a little bit expensive for us because we didn't have very many students taking that course and we have to pay for the instructor. So there's quite a big cost to it. So we did partner with a couple other divisions and then we divide it between 3 of us or 4 of us now actually. So it's a lot more cost effective and we can fill the class rather than paying for that instructor just for a couple of students.
Yeah, we do have a little bit more information just at the end of our about that. But yeah, the partnerships have been crucial for sustainability for sure. Our healthcare aid careers, this was just one of the programs we wanted to talk about because it started with the experiential learning. So Mistassini School in Wabasca offered a healthcare careers, and they were able to, the principal started some relationships with Big Stone Health and Alberta Health Services and the college provided some instructors for lab time, and there's a healthcare aid lab at the Northern East College in Wabasca. So really, again, in all of our communities, AHS and Big Stone Health are both really short healthcare workers. So they were happy to look and do that. And so we had a full program last year of healthcare careers CTS option, where with a lot of experiential learning. They got lab time over at the college, everything. And we're running right now our first healthcare aid course this year. And part of that's the dual credit enhancement grant. And part of the partnership that we're doing is our students that are waiting downstairs today here at Slave Lake, Northern Lakes to get some experiential learning in the labs and in through trades. So it's just show that experiential learning really created the interest for kids to commit to some of these bigger programs. That was some pictures of from the careers course last semester.
And then just apprenticeship opportunities through work placements through CTS days. Like I said already, they have often asked for the students, we'll pay for their training. We'd like them to come back and work with us. So that's happened in a couple different situations. The pre-employment carpentry, partnerships with Careers Next Gen. We've been a little bit different than Sean. He sounds like he's had a pretty rock solid experience there. We've had in different areas, we've had it be really successful and helpful, and in others, not so much. And until we really dug into the dual credits and that portion of it, we found they were finding kids a lot of work placements through industry and not tying it back to the school. So even though the work was happening, we weren't aware of it, so our kids weren't earning those credits. So we've really tightened up on all that and put those pieces together. It was a combination, I think, of just new people in different positions and not really knowing how to tie in all those pieces. So we've done a lot of work with that. And so that's a much smoother thing. We've gotten some new people in different areas too that are can be a lot more helpful. Mark, do you want to talk about the maintenance department since that's yours?
Sure. Yeah, just really quickly, we're just getting started with that. We have some of our own maintenance department able to finish some of their credentials in the apprenticeship placement, and then also take on some of our students in our communities, either kind of the summer grade 12 or into a grade 13. We're looking to we put out. Just for example, we need a Class A gas fitters and we're not getting a lot of applicants. So we're looking at growing our own and using some of the experience we have in there to get some apprenticeship. And we got a couple of plumbers that won't take much to get their gas fitting and be long-term employees for us. So that's what we're kind of looking to build within our own maintenance department in Northland. And I think the last part is kind of the where we're going. We talked a little bit about that. Our first trailer is the heavy duty, and we're looking at possibly some Amatrol, some cosmetology, some different trades trailers that we can build kind of a fleet to be able to do that. In our presentation, we've talking one of our programs that we offer is a policing dual credit with McEwen, and we're already working with 3 divisions. We've got a few other divisions that we were talking to at TAVE, and now looking at the possibility of combining together with several other divisions to look at emergency services collegiate application, which would involve some of the policing that we're doing, that involves some hands-on and some tours down at the K Division down in Edmonton, but also looking at paramedics, fire, healthcare aid, and combining them all into that, where each division kind of looks at specializing in each one of them and provides the opportunities for all the kids. So we're really excited about moving forward, and of course the pre-employment, using some of our local journeymen as some instructors for those pre-employment programs. So really excited about what's next over the horizon.
Any questions for our Northland team? Let's get into our leadership questions for the last part of our session. And the first question we have is looking at designing coherent pathways. And what are you intentionally designing, connecting experiences across grades rather than isolated opportunities? Brennan, I think you're going to lead off this discussion.
So what we're doing is introducing careers as early as possible to the students. We have the same kind of goal as Sean's team there, where they want to go straight from kindergarten to grade 12. But currently we're at grade 9, introducing pathways, introducing aptitude material, so that kids make a meaningful pathway through their school. So they'll start with a CTS course and build up to a micro-credential, and then introduce a dual credit, and then develop either a certificate program or further exploration of their career. So each grade offers them a new opportunity to continue their desired path, or change gears because maybe they don't like it, and start the process over again, but at an accelerated rate. I hope that helped out.
Absolutely. Anything else from our other speakers to add on this one? Okay, let's hit the next one. So leadership moves that shift practice. So what specific leadership actions have had the greatest impact in moving this work from initiative to meaningful system-wide impact? How are you building staff capacity and confidence to lead this work? Where has the leadership made the biggest difference? Sean, I think you're kicking this one off.
You betcha. Yeah. So this has been an interesting one, because really when we're taking a look, and when I look at our teachers, and me being one, we were very good at school, went to school, came back to school, and have been in school. And so when we look at our longstanding system, we're dealing with a system that is supporting kids going to like academic post-secondary, if we look way back when. And really, we get them through high school and we just let them go. That's supporting like 25 to 30, like when looking at our numbers, 25 to 30% of our kids. So a decade ago, we started looking at what do we need to do to change this? Number one, you have to have somebody champion it. In all the initiatives I've seen over my time in division office is somebody has to be passionate and champion this work, to jump through the hoops to make it through there. So that's one of your pieces. Then it's making it live for our administrators. We've had a lot of changeover of admin in the past number of years. And so championing it, but getting them to understand so that our teachers are looking at industry, understanding those, seeing it, taking the ILMs and putting them on a table and saying, this is the reading level, changing the understanding of what those career pathways mean. And so we can't do this work alone. I'm not in schools every day. I need my staff and my schools to understand this and move this work forward and make it meaningful. It's taken a decade for us to get there, and we have a long way to go still. But it's building that capacity, giving our staff the understanding, providing them pieces, running professional development to the point where they, yes, we've heard it, Sean, but it might take 5 years of, I heard it, Sean, to, oh, something clicks. They talk to a family member, they talk to industry, they go to an event like TAVE and they hear all of you guys talking. Oh, it's not just Sean, Amy's doing stuff, Mark's doing stuff, Brendan's doing stuff. We want more of this. It's bigger. Our ministry needs to speak to these pieces as well. So again, what are we doing? We have to lead ministry and continue to push them to champion this work. We have to push our industries to support this. And so it's building our staff capacity, our community capacity, our ministerial capacity, and understanding to move this work forward. Because to move it forward, we're going to need all of us. When they're talking 75,000 skilled trade jobs, we got to fill those. We don't need international workers coming in. We need to build our own. And we've got kids in our schools that can do this. So championing it, and honestly, one of the most impactful things that happened, I would say, in the past 3 years, is our collaborative network across this province of division office staff working together. Amy and Mark are up north. I can have a phone call. We can talk and we can share. When I look back 10 years or 15 years into CASS, everyone was separate and didn't do it together. Now it doesn't matter your zone, your partners. We got partners across the province, and we're supporting each other's kids and moving it forward. We are such a more powerful body. And it doesn't matter if you get a school division of 1,700 or a school division of 7,500. When we put all of our small school divisions together, we're hundreds of thousands of kids, and we are a much larger voice. So I think that leadership shift has changed, and we are a more powerful unit together. TAVE has been powerful for that. The change in CASS has been powerful. And for me, that's where I think we are at a critical tipping point. And if we continue to push, we're going to be providing some unbelievable, sustainable opportunities for our kids.
Absolutely. That collective impact definitely has huge impact. Looking at strengthening industry and community partnerships, how are you building and maintaining relationships with industry and community partners? What has helped strengthen these partnerships over time? What challenges are you encountering, and how are you working through them? Mark, are you leading this one?
I can. I think we talked about a lot of this through our presentation. It is crucial to have those relationships because the industry and community partners are the ones that are going to be hiring them afterwards. And so, what's made it easy is they need our kids to become professionals. They need those kids to be able to do that. So that's really helped. And I think what's helped strengthen those, Amy talked about some of those CTS placements. So because I know we've talked a lot about through CASS and through some discussions is the difficulty hiring first year apprentices and breaking through that because everybody wants somebody with experience. And so that ability to really get the students to get to know the industry and just get a couple of days has really made a difference in strengthening those and saying, hey, I really would like that kid to come and work for me and put the work into them. And I think that the biggest challenges we're encountering is everything costs money. And even for industry, like the partnership with careers will help, but not all of the small industry has the money to put into training first year apprentices and do that. So and they, not many people just volunteer their time. And so even when we use our local journeymen, they're taking days off and, there's expected compensation for different things. And so money, I think, is one of the always going to be the biggest challenges. And I think we've seen some really good ideas from all three presentations on how we're overcoming some of that barrier.
Exactly. Brennan, I might have Did you have anything to add to this one relative to industry and community partnerships? Have your points been mentioned?
My point's been mentioned.
Okay, thank you. Sustaining and scaling the work. Amy and Mark, can you speak to what makes the work sustainable beyond individual champions? How do you determine what's worth scaling across your system? And what have you had to stop, reduce, or rethink to create space for it?
We've had, I mean, with everything you have successes and then you think, okay, that didn't work very well. What what can we go back and change with that? Um, I mean, like I said, our policing program, we were paying $10,000 for that course and we had two students in it at one point in time. So that was clearly not sustainable. And now that we've tied that in with three other divisions, so there's four of us, we've made that very affordable and we've offered it up to so many more divisions and students. So that was, a good change there. We're talking now with a couple of other divisions about expanding that and turning it into emergency services partnerships. So we're going to have policing, fire, paramedic, healthcare aid. We were talking about maybe victim services in there as well. So a few different partnerships that we're going to move forward with that. Our IYMP, Indigenous Youth Mentorship Program, it's been a bit of a challenge because we don't have high schools in all of our communities. And so we have to work with other divisions for those high schools. So we're not quite there yet, but with the communities that we have our elementary kids there, that mentorship has been huge. We just had another meeting with Big Brothers Big Sisters about training some grade 13 students and using those grade 13 dollars to earn some money. So if the kids come back and they take those courses and they get the training, then they can volunteer with Big Brothers Big Sisters, but have maybe their mileage paid for the rural communities, and the money would come from the credits earned from that grade 13. And we would donate that to Big Brothers and they would pay them for going. So just working those partnerships, just trying to see the bigger picture on how we can get the kids in there, because we know that's a huge need. Also helping with classroom complexities if we can get some mentors in there and stuff like that. Renting out our mobile trailers, obviously that'll be an income source for us. We're still just working through the logistics of insurance and what pieces need to be covered that way. And then for sustainability, I think that the CTS stays, and allowing the kids to come back to the school talking about what they're passionate about, and the principals and the teachers seeing that engagement and that excitement for school, and they can't wait to talk about it and they want more of that. The school-based staff are wanting to drive that more now because they're seeing the success in it.
Thank you. And for the very last question for our presenters today, what is the most important next move your system needs to make to strengthen this work? Sean, you want to kick it off?
Sure. For me, I think we're at a critical point. I'll be very honest. I am very surprised. I thought with the collegiate funding starting a while ago, I actually thought there was going to be there was going to be dollars tied to some things, and with strings and accountability and pieces there, and with all the mandate pieces. So I find that we're at a very critical tipping point right now. This is not the new grants. It's not the new initiative pieces. It's long-term sustainability. And with seeing the reductions and the budgetary constraints that we've got across the board, I'm very concerned right now about longevity. Right now, I'm not I really want to look at growing, but I don't know if I can, because I'm worried about keeping what we have. And so that's where I never thought we were going to be here. I thought we were going to be able to move forward because of the positive results that have happened due to it. So that's where the moving forward right now is, I think, advocacy. It's going to be about showing the results and beating the drum to our ministry to understand why this needs to be supported and the impacts of this having for sustainability. That to me, I think, is where we're at right now to strengthen things.
John? Amy and Mark, what's your most important next move within your system?
I would think that along with what Sean has been saying, there is just that dedication of that it's somebody's plate and that it's not the side of 10 people's plates, that it's a focus of either a team or a small group of individuals, that is their focus. And because in order to make that a priority, you have to have that, because we've proven time and time again that when it's on the side of your plate, things get forgotten.
I think there's definitely an opportunity for more marketing to the industry, saying, tell us what you need. What are you willing to kick in? We'll find the right student for you. And partnering a little bit more. We're constantly going out saying, can you partner for this? But maybe asking industry, what do you guys need? Tell us, we'll find you the kid, and we'll find the industry partner, and we'll get them trained up. And if you want to pay for it, you can have them, kind of thing.
Yeah, like a reciprocal approach more so than going out directly. And Brennan, what is your next move within your system?
Sharing the wealth with other staff members in the division, so that it can carry on when one person moves from position to position. Prime example of this is we have a teacher that was dedicated to micro-credentials at one of our high schools, but they needed her as a science teacher for next year. So we're going through the process again of training somebody to do that. So we're trying to train multiple people so that there's that continuous continuity of the program going forward. But I'd also like to iterate what the other guys have said, where it's just a commitment of funds and to programming and programming needs that are going to be building up if we're going to be able to sustain such a rich program.
Thank you. Well, thank you to all three of our jurisdictions for presenting today. You are changing the face of high school. Congratulations. It's very different from when I was in high school a million years ago, but also very different from when I was in education. So I'm very, very excited with the opportunities that students are getting. You're broadening the pathways. I know it's hard work. There's not enough funding, but in spite of all of that, kids have some amazing opportunities that we've heard about today. So thank you for what each and every one of you in your jurisdictions are doing. It is changing the face of high school. So with that, I'm going to close this webinar and say have a great day.